All right, if I had to start all over again in real estate, this is exactly what I would do. So this year I went from not making a lot of money in real estate or money in this business to working on 63 deals, and I'm about to show you exactly how. So I'm gonna put my iPad here. When you get started in real estate, like what is one of the first things that real estate gurus tell you to do, real estate communities, or you just when you start watching YouTube videos, what do people actually normally tell you to do? Number one is wholesaling, right? Wholesaling, people tell you to either join a team, you can bear dog for them, find opportunities for them, you can set appointments for them, you can be a closer if you are more experienced. But I mean, if you want to do everything yourself, you don't want to join a team, which I don't actually recommend it. A lot of people get started in wholesaling, right? And when you get started in wholesaling, like you have kind of two options on how to get started. You can do on market. This means that you work with agents or you are talking to agents, or you do off market. And this only means that you are direct to seller. Now, the challenge that going direct to seller, when you have direct communication with the seller, with the homeowner, is that you got to spend money on marketing. Skip tracing. Skip tracing just means that there are softwares out there that allow you to get the seller's information, right? Now, let me tell you my experience wholesaling, okay? When I got started, I was the person who started calling pre-foreclosures. So I focus on an area, I pull a list of pre-foreclosures, people that were behind on payments, and I started calling. And guess what? I did that for 4 months and I didn't close a deal. I didn't know how to negotiate. I didn't have any sales background. I didn't know how to talk to sellers. And I closed 0 deals. And then on top of that, what it was very painful, I was like, oh, I'm going all in on this, is that I spent more time hearing at voicemails and that the phone was disconnected than actual conversations with sellers. So very tough. I was like, there is something wrong here. Like, am I the one who is, I was at that time, I had conversations with sellers, but I didn't even know what to say to sellers. Okay. Now, here is the thing. That's how I got started. What I'm saying is, my point is that wholesaling is a tough way to get started. Like, just think about that. Like, if you don't have any sales background, it's very tough. Like, you don't know what to say to sellers. You don't know what to say to agents if you are doing on market. You don't know how to run numbers. You don't know how, like, there is more to just negotiate with sellers. There is more to it. Okay. And it is just a tough way. I'm going to get into that, but it's not for everyone. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying it doesn't work. It's not for everyone. So I'm just continuing with my journey, okay? Then I moved to creative finance. I started learning about seller finance, subject to how those are creative ways to acquire real estate. Seller finance, you have the seller finance you their equity on the property, or subject to you take over existing mortgage payments, okay? Now, I started doing this when back in 2021, 2022, when we got it was during COVID and then, after COVID. And that's when we had the interest rate hikes. So it was like a very good time to go and call people to offer subject to mortgage, because during that interest hikes, a lot of people who bought their houses recently didn't have no equity. So I'm just saying it was really like a nice opportunity to offer subject to. That's all. So yeah, I joined a team. I closed on 4 transactions. I made 32,000 in assignments. Not too bad. Okay. And then also during that time, I also bought 2 houses in Houston. I actually used to live in Miami, then moved to Houston because I bought 1 house for myself, like as an investment. Then I also partnered with someone else there in Houston for the other house. So I was there. I used some of this money to renovate the property. I didn't raise money, renovate the properties and turn them into co-living. I added bedrooms and baths. And let's continue on my journey. So it was not bad. I was finally getting some momentum. I joined a team and I wholesale this way. Okay. Now, after I was done with the renovations and I turned them into co-living, my team disappeared. I say not like that they ghosted me, but they decided to focus on something else, not wholesaling. They focus on something else. So that's where I said I'm also no longer focusing in wholesaling. So I stopped wholesaling, and then I discovered something called transactional funding. It's a very niche way to lend money for an investor. I'm gonna get into that. But let me get into this. So that's when I want to start to compare about wholesaling versus transactional funding. So for wholesaling, here is the challenge. Again, it is not for everyone, but you gotta be really good at sales. You need to follow up with sellers and agents. You gotta have some sort of luck. Like to be able to have a stable wholesaling business, you need to be kind of lucky, and you need to be able to close on real estate deals like within 60 to 90 days. Why? If you're spending on marketing, you pull a big list to go after sellers, and you don't close a deal in 30, 60 days, like you spend on marketing again, you spend on marketing again. So you are, not making any money. Like it's, you gotta close on deals. So from those deals, you gotta spend more time again on marketing. So you then have more leads. Like it's just like never ending cycle. And if you're not able to close a deal in those within 90 days, it's just very tough, right? So I'm kind of repeating myself here. You gotta spend on marketing, call sellers, negotiate, get them under contract, kind of telling you like the whole thing that you gotta do, right? Find the buyer. And same thing if you're a bird dogging for a team, setting appointments or closing. Like you gotta rely on that team to either close those deals for you if you're bird dogging, either following up with you. You don't know how many stories I've heard, unfortunately. There are good teams out there for sure. There are a lot of people that join teams and then they don't hear anything back from the team, or they are not responsive, or the communication is bad. It's just part of real estate. You will have bad partnerships along the way. I even learned that myself, not only with this team, even before joining them. Just telling you like one of my highlights or like my important parts of my real estate journey. But I also had bad partnerships along the way. And again, here relying on you to, oh yeah, this is very important. You gotta observe and you gotta pay attention to the team that you join. If that team or that person is relies on you, or it's relying on you to generate leads for them, you gotta run. You gotta join a team that is actually doing it. It's on the business, it's active. They are actually closing deals themselves without your help. But then, hey, if you want to join their team and help them, then they can show you the ropes so you can also close as well. I'm saying this because a lot of people join teams and because they close a deal 3 months ago, 6 months ago, and they are not even that active. And that's when I hear these bad stories of they don't have good communication, they don't know what to do with all these leads that you send to them. Anyway, I can keep talking about this. But let's now compare it to transactional funding. Okay, like why I decided, like things that I paid attention doing this, right? Or things that I discovered along the way is something called leverage. As a transactional funder, it's all about finding active investors or active wholesalers that you work with them, okay, that are closing deals every single month. So, because here's the cool thing, every real estate transaction requires money to close. Every real estate transaction. So, just think about all the opportunities that are out there to lend money on as a transactional lender. I want to get into the types of transactional funding. What does that even mean if you don't know? So I do 3 types of funding as a transactional lender. I do EMDs, okay, the earnest money deposit. It's like the faith deposit. People sometimes need money to get it on their contract. I'm not gonna get into much detail on what they mean, but that's EMDs. I also do double closings. That's number 2. Double closings is a type of transaction that wholesalers do. It can be for multiple reasons: to hide their fee, to maybe the buyer doesn't like assignments. Maybe they are just working on a state with strict wholesale regulations. That happens a ton. And here my minimum fee is $1,500. My minimum fee. And then there is another type of transaction where transactional funding is involved, and it's called the stack method, or the Morby method. Is the same thing. Okay. Other people call it seller carry or capital stack. There are many different names for that, but I mean, it's the same thing. And my minimum fee here is $25. So when you get started in real estate, of course, it's because you want to make more money. You want to make what is called more active income a lot of times. So if you're ready to buy, that is for passive income, to buy properties and long-term wealth. But a lot of us, like me, when I got started, I wanted more active income. So let's talk about the famous $10,000 a month, right? As a transactional lender, what it requires, what does it take for you to make $10,000 a month? So if the minimum fee is $2,500, that means that you only need to find 4 active investors buying like this or wholesaling like this to be able to make $10,000 a month. Is it difficult to just build 4 relationships with active investors? No, it's not. So results. I've been in transactional funding for 2 years now, maybe 2 years and a half now. Okay, by the time you're watching this video. And this year I worked on 63 transactional funding deals. 63 submissions. You can see I have a CRM where I keep track of everything. 63 submissions, totaling 45.3 million on money requested. Okay, Eight of them were EMDs, 15 double closings, and 37 stack method deals. Actually, my goal for this year is to help 50 investors or wholesalers with the stack method. We are close to that goal. This is my goal of 2026. Now, let's say that the minimum fee from all those deals, remember, my minimum fee on the stack method is 25. But let's say that the minimum fee is 1,500 from all those 63. That's $94,500 in fees. Crazy, right? Now, with the stack method, now it's way over 100,000. But just to tell you how powerful this is. And a lot of these deals come from investors that are already closed. These are investors that keep buying like this. These are wholesalers that are closing deals, multiple deals a month. And there you go, just to show you how powerful is this business. Transactional funding changed my life. And if you really observe what is happening, again, it's all about finding active investors, active wholesalers. And what they are doing is they are the one spending on marketing, making the calls, negotiating, following up with the seller or agent, getting them under contract, finding the buyer if they are wholesaling. And then they just reach out to you when the time comes, when they get it under contract and say, hey, Tonio, I need funds I need EMD funding for my deal, 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000. I got you there. Let's get to work. Hey, Tonio, you know what? I'm working on a state with the strict wholesale regulations, or hey, my buyer doesn't like assignments. Hey, can we double close it? Hey, I want to hide my assignment fee. Let's double close it. Let's go. I bring the funds for you and I handle the steps to double close your deal. Or hey, Tonio, I'm working on this property. I want to wholesale it or I want to buy it doing the stack method. Can you help me with the contracts? I got you there. Can you help me bring the transactional funds? I got you. Can you help me introduce me with the SCR lenders to work with, a lender that it's okay with how this transaction works? I got you there. So just to show you that this is what I do. Now, if you want to get into something like this, if you want to learn about transactional funding, build your transactional funding business. Again, it doesn't matter if you don't know anything about transactional funding, or maybe you've been stuck in real estate, you've been stuck in wholesaling, bird-dogging, maybe you've been doing this for 3 months, 6 months, a year, even seen people not done a deal in a year, and you want to give this a shot. Because remember, one thing is to be consistent and persistent, which is a good thing, but hey, same thing that happened to me, like after 4 months of calling pre-foreclosures, I didn't close a deal. Hey, I noticed that, hey, I'm doing the work, but I'm not making any money. You gotta pivot, you gotta change or do something else, right, to make it work. So again, transactional funding for me is one of the best ways to get into the game, to learn how everything works, build relationships, and for active income, it's just the easiest way to do it. If you want to get into this, let me show you this. I just built this community. It's called The Funders. I just opened this a month and a half ago now, by the time you're watching this video. And this is what you get. If you go to Classroom, it's in a school. If you go to Classroom, of course, it goes step by step. It says start here. Everything about EMDs and double closings, how they work, the stack method, how it works, lead generation, this is very important. And on top of that, something very cool that I did, this is the coolest things I've ever done. For 30 days, I recorded myself every single day, showing you what I do to find transactional funding opportunities. During this challenge, I got 6 transactional funding deals. 1 EMD, 1 double closing, and 4 stack method opportunities. 6. So all you can do is just go right here, copy me what I do on day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Just copy me or even do more than me. You can beat me to make it fun. So I expect you to close a deal within 90 days. We also have weekly meetings, accountability calls from Monday through Wednesday. If you go to calendar, you will have access to that. Think about this as joining my team. This is joining my team. You have access to all my resources, my help, weekly accountability calls, and of course, access to the community. So if I click on here, right, even show you the wins, right? Like just to show you that other people are like doing deals. For example, Bertalina. Hi, all. Almost 3 weeks into the program, I got my first potential double closing for like just to show you this is real. Okay. I don't want to show you much here on the discussions. I think if we go to announcements, look, tomorrow, paid ways to find stack method leads. Today is a build transaction funding lead generation masterclass. Like, these are the weekly accountability calls that we have, and you have access to that. Something very important, inside the community, there is something called the 90-day promise. It's a daily action plan that you can follow. And let's say that this is not for you, right? During those 90 days, you follow my plan, my trainings, you show me your consistency, and you don't find a transactional funding submission, I will give you a refund. So this is risk-free. Like a lot of people think that you gotta know real estate or transactional funding to do these deals. Like Bertalina, only 3 weeks into the program, she didn't know anything about transactional funding, and she's already finding these opportunities. So just to show you that this is real, and just my how serious I am with you getting you a deal, right? I'm tired of seeing all these people do wholesaling before closure. They don't have even like a sales background, and getting into this, like it's very tough to do wholesaling if you don't have a sales background. So transactional funding is way easier, and I want you to see results. And of course, I want to do deals together. So that is all for this video. So yeah, that was my journey, and I'm very happy on how it's going. Very grateful of how this year is going so far. And yeah, if this is something that gets your attention, I will see you there inside the community. So I will see you on the next video. Bye.